do want you to talk to me, so turn on your microphones. And we are now recording. All right, Matthew, we're video recording this.
Oh.
So I can't see you now, but I want to talk about what is a Punnett square and how do we do Punnett squares. All right, and so we need to work through some words. And throughout this entire activity, a capital B allele will represent dominant brown, and the lowercase b allele represents the recessive blue. So if you have a capital B, brown eyes, lowercase b, blue eyes. Got it?
Yep.
All right. I need to know what this word means. What does heterozygous mean?
Heterozygous means two of the same alleles.
Do you all agree?
No.
Heterozygous are three different alleles.
Two different.
Okay, so heterozygous, right? Heterozygous means we receive two different alleles. For example, with eye color, you may have a dominant B and a recessive B. So if you have capital B, lowercase b, what's your eye color going to be?
Brown.
Good, brown. Okay, homozygous, try it again.
Two of the same allele.
Two same alleles.
Two of the same allele. So you can either have what two pairs that are the same?
You can have either capital B, or lowercase b, lowercase b.
That is absolutely correct. And if it's capital B, your eyes would be brown. If it's lowercase b, your eyes would be blue. Matt asked a question, and I appreciate that, and said, well, what happens if I have green eyes? So I posted a comment not too long ago in the classroom. If you want to read about that, that's something I think has value. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to build a Punnett square. So what I would like you to do, please, is build this box. And just kind of work with me and draw this out. Can I move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so where do I put the dad's alleles at?
On top.
Top or side? And mom's alleles will go on the side, correct.
So top.
All right, so dad's on top, mom's on the side. That's considered, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. It really does not matter, but it's considered proper that way. All right, so I want you to fill out your chart, and let's pretend that dad is heterozygous brown. Write that on your Punnett square.
Capital B.
Okay. Got it written?
Do we actually have to write heterozygous brown? Or just
Nope, I want you to write the alleles. So you should
Okay,
write
so
two letters.
What do I write that?
What did you write down, Matthew?
Nothing yet. I don't know where to write it.
Anybody help Matthew?
So when you're writing down his alleles, you're going to write them on top, outside of the box.
And Zeke, what would I actually write if dad is heterozygous brown?
The capital B, the dominant brown, would be on the left, and the lowercase b, blue, would be on the right.
Okay, good. That's exactly correct. You should have this.
Jordan said hi.
Oh, hi, Jordan. Thank you. I can't see typing as you go, Jordan. Jordan, we're doing a mini lesson here. You are being recorded right now, just so you're aware. All right, so that's dad. And then mom's alleles. Mom's is homozygous brown.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And so the point of this lesson today is start using these words, heterozygous and homozygous, to start figuring out. People have been struggling with that, people that haven't been with us. So that's why we're recording this video today. Brandy, what would I put for mom's letters?
Lowercase b and lowercase. No. I get it, Jocelyn. You don't have to shake your head. I get it. Uppercase b.
Uppercase B and
Lowercase. No.
okay. Needy, what do you think?
Oh, well, I get that.
Uppercase B and uppercase B.
Can anybody confirm or deny?
The homozygous brown, so it would have to be two capitals.
Very good. So mom would look like that. Okay, please, let's go through the Punnett square now. And so on this first box right here, the offspring's alleles could be what? This is easy. Right here in this box.
Two capital B's.
There would be, and by the way, so yeah, now we got to figure out the genotype of each potential child. So this one would be capital B, capital B. This one over here would be
capital B,
lowercase b. This box right here would be capital B, and this box right here would be capital B and lowercase b. So this top box, this child would have brown eyes. This top box, this child would have brown eyes. This would have brown eyes. And this would have brown eyes as well. So what percentage of the child will have brown eyes? You would say 100%. And why do these two boxes right here, why do they not have blue eyes?
because brown's a dominant trait and it takes power over the recessive.
Yeah, and remember, each one of these boxes represents a 25% chance, right? So blue eyes, 0%. Okay, let's do two more. I just want to make sure you got this and figure it out. Okay, you ready? If you would, please, could you go ahead and make a new box and kind of go along? And then here we go. Here's Dad's alleles. Dad is heterozygous brown. Go ahead and fill out the top of the chart. Peyton, can you share with me what the top of the chart should say? Carlos, can you tell me what the top of the chart would say?
So then, so since the dad is heterozygous, it would be like an uppercase B and then a lowercase b, or right?
So an uppercase B and a lowercase b. Can anybody confirm or deny?
I agree.
Okay, that would be uppercase, lowercase b. Mom is heterozygous brown. So we'd have also the capital B, lowercase b. Would you please go ahead and fill out your Punnett square and then figure out what percentage of the child will have brown eyes and what percent of the child will have blue eyes. Come up with your answers.
Okay.
My math people are going to fly. They're going to be like, oh, this is easy. Everybody good? Need more time? Okay, so you should probably have enough time now. So let's go to this child right here. This potential child, really. I would write what two letters in this one right here?
Dominant B, dominant B.
And so what would I call that child?
Homozygous brown.
Homozygous brown, good. All right, this child over here, this child would be?
Heterozygous brown.
So capital B, lowercase b, they would be heterozygous brown. This child over here, capital B, lowercase b, again should be heterozygous brown. And this child right here would be lowercase b, and I would call this child homozygous blue. Okay, so what percentage of the children have brown eyes? I don't know who's still with us. Let me see who's with us. Jordan, what percent of these children have brown eyes? Oops, you probably just saw the answers. Oh, I lost everything. Where did it all go? Tyler, what percentage has brown eyes? What's my percentage of brown eyes versus blue eyes? 75. So this child would have brown eyes because it has the capital B dominant. This would have brown eyes, capital B dominant. This one would have brown eyes, capital B dominant. And this one would be blue. So what is our percentage? 75, 25. Okay, good. Questions? Okay, this one's on you. I want you to type in the comments the percentage of the child. Here's, oops, oh, darn it, I didn't do it. Here's the information. I'll leave that off. Tell me what the percentage is. Okay. Dad is homozygous blue. Mom is heterozygous brown. What percentage of the child will have brown eyes? What percentage of the child would have blue eyes? Please write your comments in the box. Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
I'm sorry, I shared it with everybody, unfortunately. So this first child, capital B, lowercase b. Second child, capital B, lowercase b. Third child, potential child anyways, homozygous, recessive, and then homozygous recessive. So your percentage was 50 and 50. All right, when I see you tomorrow, I'd like to do some more of these and just have you share with me the percentage without going through this step. Do you think you know how to do these?
No.
Yes.
Okay. You need another one, Tyler? That was Matthew, right? So Jordan says
Yeah.
no. Matthew says no. Let's do another one.
Kind of.
I think kind of.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's go over your fusion work. And then we'll come back and do some more tutorials of this material. So if you are comfortable on how to do Punnett squares and you've already finished your fusion work, you're welcome to take off. Oh, somebody's got a visitor. So let's switch gears. Yeah.
Can you after this meeting, can you help me with the like lab?
Yeah, we can look into that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll write that down. So Matthew needs help with lab. Jordan, you want help with Punnett squares still, and Matthew still want help with Punnett squares, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, we'll come back. Anybody else need help or want more review?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to continue recording this meeting, and I want to now focus on your fusion book. So if you haven't already, would you take a moment, please, and go to the classroom stream and open up the fusion work, and I'll kind of join you on that. And again, if you've got everything done, that's something I want to do today. Here's the post that Matthew asked about understanding, you know, different eye color, and that's a great link, very, very understood. So if you have a chance later, it might be worth checking it out. You can see that I posted all the classwork for the rest of the week, and today's the 4/13, so here's our work today. And if you'd also join me here. And so I need a fusion book, and I need, and so today's a very simple thing. I want you to read a couple pages with me and then just tell me what's important. And so if you're here with me today, we'll do it together, and it's video recorded, so you can simply write stuff down later. It takes a while for the video to post. May be of some help, or it may not be some help, but either way, please also continue to let me know what are ways that I can help you. Matthew's reached out a lot. So if you want to join me, if you haven't done your work, we are going to go to page 330. And so what we're talking about is that we have alleles, but sometimes the alleles don't actually control the outcome entirely of how the allele will be expressed. There are other factors such as environment. And so I'd actually like to go through all these things and have a conversation with you as if we were actually doing this assignment. So I'm actually going to read, and I think this will be helpful for some other people that are trying to follow along. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to tell me in each section I read, what do you think was important from this section of the reading? Okay. And also what we're doing is we're also outlining our work for my notes. When you do your notes, you are welcome just to write bullets. You can go like this, and you can kind of just type your answers. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence. So whatever is good for you. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Okay, so it says many genes can influence a single trait. Some characteristics, such as the eye color of your skin, hair color, and eyes, are the result of several genes acting together. Different combinations of alleles can result in different shades of eye color. Because there is not always a one-to-one relationship between a trait and a gene, many traits do not have a simple pattern of inheritance. What do you think was important from that text?
The fact that
I'd say that many traits do not have a simple pattern of inheritance is important.
Okay. All right. I agree with that. This reaches out to me right here. Different combination of alleles can result in different shades of eye color. So the way alleles combine, and sometimes it's not as exact. You don't always have a simple pattern of inheritance. I think those are probably the two most important things from this. Okay, so page 330, second paragraph, a single gene can influence many traits. We've already kind of started talking about that. I shared with you a link that showed you all of the genetic disorders that can occur. And as we continue through this process, that's actually something I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you create a genetic disorder project. I want to write that down really quick. All right, so as we read through this, a single gene can influence many traits. Sometimes one gene influences more than one trait. For example, a single gene causes the tiger shown below to have white fur. If you look closely, you will see the tiger also has blue eyes. The gene that affects fur coat also influences eye color. What's important in that? One gene influences more than one trait. That would be your takeaway from that. Paragraph 2, many genetic disorders in humans are linked to a single gene but affect many traits. For example, the genetic disorder for sickle cell anemia occurs in individuals who have two recessive alleles for a certain gene. This gene carries instructions for producing a protein in red blood cells. When a person has sickle cell anemia alleles, the body makes a different protein. Okay? I'm not going to continue to read this. I think the point of this is that just genetic disorders in humans are linked to a single gene but affect many traits. I'm going to move on to the next page. This page talks about an Arctic fox, and here in the summertime, the fox's coat is brown, but here in the wintertime, the fox's coat is white. And so this allele has an environmental factor that allows it to change depending on the environment. So we think alleles as being inherited and solid. Well, that's not true. They can change and fluctuate. Questions?
Mr. Nowak.
Yeah.
So isn't it like if let's talk about like white moths and how they
great.
go extinct, how they went
Yeah.
extinct because they didn't have anything to blend into because their genes in them made it to where they were white so they could blend into a lot of things that were white.
And that's something that we are going to be focusing on, especially during natural selection. And so if you look at this, you could see that let's see if I can find a picture that's appropriate. You're absolutely correct. This brown moth very well hides. So during the Industrial Revolution, a lot of pollution was put in the environment, and then the white moths were easily picked off prior to the pollution, but after the pollution, the brown moths were the ones that survived because they weren't visible. Yeah, that's something we're actually going to be focusing on very soon. Good. Okay. So second part in our notes, the environment can influence traits, page 331. It says sometimes the environment influences an organism's phenotype. What is a phenotype? My phenotype, brown hair, blue eyes, unattached earlobes. What are phenotypes?
Physical traits.
It's how your genes express the way you look physically. Absolutely. So sometimes the environment influences an organism's phenotype. For example, the Arctic fox has a gene that is responsible for coat color. This gene is affected by light. In the winter, where there are fewer hours of daylight, and the hairs that make up the Arctic fox coat grow in white. In the summertime, when there are more daylight hours, the hairs in the coat grow brown. In this case, both genes and the environment contribute to the organism's phenotype. The environment can influence human characteristics as well. For example, your genes may make it possible for you to grow to be tall, but you need a healthy diet to reach your fullest height potential. Okay, what's important from that paragraph?
that genes can be affected by light?
And it says, in this case, both genes and the environment contribute to the organism's phenotype. So yeah, absolutely. So takeaway from this paragraph is that the environment also influxes our genes, our traits, excuse me. Traits are learned in one environment, are not inherited. For example, the ability to read and write is an acquired trait, a skill you learned. You are not born knowing how to ride a bike, and if you have children, they will not be born knowing how to ride. It's a learned skill, just as you did. Okay. What advantage does white fur give the Arctic fox in winter?
It can blend into the snow.
Camouflage.
Absolutely. Give an example of an acquired trait. What's an example of acquired trait?
Learning how to ride a bike.
Sure, learning how to ride a bike.
Reading and
Learning
writing.
how to draw.
Sure.
Learning how to cook.
Learning how to play music. I actually looked this up. So during this time, I have the ability to exercise a lot, and that's just something I've always wanted to do. And as I was looking this up and doing more research myself, the ability to grow calluses on my hands is an acquired trait to protect my skin. I thought that was really, really interesting for me. If you're a musician and you like music, that is an acquired trait. It's something you learn. Cool. Flip with me. Page 332. Thanks for doing your work with me. What are the exceptions to incomplete dominance? So now there's this thing called incomplete dominance. And it's kind of a change from the capital B, lowercase b dominance. And what we're going to understand, if something's dominant, it doesn't always take over. Do you have any questions at this moment?
How would something that's dominant not always take over?
That's a great question. Let's figure that out. What are the exceptions to complete dominance? That's exactly where we are. And what we have to realize is the information that we're learning is at a very minimal basic level, and this gets extremely complex. And I hope that the people going to high school next year for the advanced biology get to learn a little bit more about that. This is just kind of an introductory. So what are the exceptions to complete dominance? The characteristics that Mendel chose to study demonstrated complete dominance, meaning that heterozygous individuals show the dominant trait. A pause. A heterozygous means you have a capital and a lowercase allele for that trait. Some human traits, such as freckles and dimples, however, follow the pattern of complete dominance. However, other traits do not. For traits that show incomplete dominance or codominance, one trait is not completely dominant over the other. Okay, so what are we learning? We're learning two things, something called incomplete dominance and codominance. One trait is not completely dominant over the other.
So complete dominance would be like freckles and dimples, basically?
No, we're going to read about that, and thank you. This is very, I appreciate the conversation, and this is a little bit confusing. Let's start with incomplete dominance. I had a grandfather, and he lived up till 93 years old, and he loved growing flowers, and he had these flowers called snapdragons. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Yeah, and what you can't really see here is in this picture. I have the colored copy. This flower is supposed to be red, and this flower is supposed to be a white. So they bred a red flower with a white flower, but the flower turned out to be pink. In incomplete dominance, each allele in a heterozygous individual, again, heterozygous means you have like a capital and a lowercase allele, influences the phenotype. The result of a phenotype that is a blend of the phenotypes of the parent. So if you have incomplete dominance, you are a blend. Red flower breeds with white flower. The offspring is a pink flower.
Wait, couldn't that also work for like colors? Because red and white, when you mix them, equals pink.
Right, and that's the idea right there, and that's the connection. So if you think of the colors and the blending of colors, that's called incomplete dominance. So continuing reading, one example of incomplete dominance is found in the snapdragon flower shown below. When a true breeding red snapdragon is crossed with a true breeding white snapdragon, all of the offspring are pink snapdragons. Both alleles of the gene have some influence. Hair texture is an example of incomplete dominance in humans. A person with one straight hair allele and one curly hair allele will have wavy hair. Okay, so incomplete dominance. blend. Say again?
I didn't know that if like one person had straight hair allele and a curly hair allele would result in wavy hair. I thought you would just get one or the other.
Sure. Yeah. So that means like the dominant's not always going to take over. This is called incomplete dominance. What is important from this paragraph?
That the phenotypes can combine.
And second sentence, the result in a phenotype that is a blend. Incomplete dominance is a blend. Then they give the example of flowers, and they also give the example of the hair. How can you tell that these snapdragons do not follow the pattern of complete dominance? Well, if they did, I believe.
Either white or red.
Yeah, right. It's not going to be a white flower or red flower. Perfect. Thank you. Moving on. Doing all right?
Yep. I just ate.
Okay, so now we need to do our last one, codominance. And same idea is that there's some kind of blending going on. Codominance. For a trait that shows codominance, both of the alleles in a heterozygous individual contribute to the phenotype. So no matter what you have, if you have a capital and a lowercase, they both contribute. Instead of having a blend of the two phenotypes, heterozygous, that means, again, two different lettered individuals have both of the traits associated with their two alleles. An example of codominance is shown in the gene that determines human blood type. There are three alleles that play a role in determining a person's blood type: A, B, and O. The alleles are responsible for producing small particles on the surface of red blood cells called antigens. The A allele produces red blood cells coated with A antigens. The B allele produces red blood cells with B antigens. And the O allele does not produce any antigens. The A and the B alleles are codominant. So someone with one A allele and one B allele will have both cells that are coated with A antigens and B antigens. This person would have type AB blood. Okay, and so this is coming at you pretty fast. Let's take a moment and let's look at this chart and see if you can figure this out. So I have the color of fish, and what you can't see again, this fish is supposed to be blue, and this fish is supposed to be yellow. So if they have a complete dominance and the two fish mate, the blue and the yellow fish mate, what is the color of the fish going to be here?
Blue.
Blue, absolutely. And that's like the Punnett chart shows complete dominance. And eventually we're going to be doing something that is going to go beyond and show you the true understanding of alleles. We're just starting. Okay, so if we had incomplete dominance, that would be like the flowers. If this is a blue fish and this is a yellow fish, this fish would be
Green.
green. Absolutely. And if this was codominance, okay, and codominance means that both alleles are going to play a part. What do you think this fish will look like?
Would it be both?
It would be like a rainbow fish. It would have both
Yeah.
yellow and blue
Like
fins.
that one book. With the
Which
rainbow.
one?
There's a
Yeah,
book
sure.
that has like
I
a
know
rainbow.
exactly what you're talking about. I should have brought it. That's an awesome idea. Okay. So takeaway from this paragraph. What's your takeaway? What can we learn?
That codominance has both alleles in a heterozygous individual that contribute to a phenotype.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So here today, what have we done? We've kind of worked on Punnett squares, and we've also worked together to work on our fusion notes. I'll record this and I will repost it. It takes a while to do that. Do you have any other questions?
Why is the SWCFD blocking your website for some reason?
I didn't hear you.
I found out that the SWCFD is blocking websites.
Okay. Hang on one second. I'm going to stop recording.